In breaking news, Bill Cosby will now be a free man. According to the New York Post, the state Supreme Court found that an agreement with previous prosecutor prevented him from being charged for allegedly drugging and molesting Andrea Constand in 2004. The new ruling bars any retrial in the case. Cosby has served 2.5 years out of a possible 3 to 10 year sentence. Today on the show, we have our very special guests, Rodney Perry and Vanessa Fraction, to discuss the breaking news surrounding Bill Cosby. Now, I know it's been a long time that we've been hearing this story. Things are just coming out, but being that this is breaking news, what is your initial reaction? I'll start with you, Vanessa.
It's been a roller coaster. Like, this is what episodes of Law and Order are made out of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, after 2 years, he gets out, doom, 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 you know what I mean? What was the main question?
Just your initial reaction to hearing the breaking news.
I wasn't shocked. I was like,
You wasn't?
For some reason, no. I never thought that he would serve all 10. Like, that just seemed like I don't know. I never thought he would. So this was definitely a twist of events, but I wasn't completely shocked.
What about you, Rodney? What are your initial reactions?
Off the rip, I'm thinking to myself, it's a surprise to me. You know, I mean, we know black men go to jail all the time in this country and never get out. And so he was already advanced in age, and it was talk that he would serve the maximum of this penalty. And so to see him getting out 2 years in, I mean, there was maybe last month they were talking about that because he had appealed. Yeah. He had appealed to get out because of COVID, and they was like, no. And so to see him getting out only a couple of months later, that's big.
Well, he wouldn't take this class to say, you know how you have to take
They want him to admit.
Yes, to admit and take a class.
XYZ.
Right,
Yeah.
to get help and so forth. And he's like, if I take this class, that's basically admitting that I did something wrong, and I'm saying I didn't do it.
Right.
So, quite a twist of events is
Right.
what I keep saying.
Now, Rodney, I want to ask, because I think a lot of people wonder too, especially with the legacy that Bill Cosby built. How do we find someone of Bill Cosby and his stature in this situation? How do you think he finds himself like in this situation?
You know, that's a great question. I was one of the people that was mad at Bill Cosby in terms of when you think about a guy that comes out and calls black people onto the carpet and tells us that we have to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps and that we are so much rhetoric about how we need to get our stuff together. That made me and a lot of black people just kind of turn away from him. And I think because of that, you get a situation where people are like, he's vulnerable because he upset his base, and his base is people like me, grown people, black people in America that are doing their best, and then you're gonna charge all of us that we can do better. And I wasn't cool with that until I saw him live. And once I saw him live, just the comedian in me made me embrace him more. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't get the opportunity and was abandoning the guy.
Right. What about you, Vanessa?
There was a couple of things said in that.
Yeah.
But the first part was about how does this happen to someone like him? I would say timing. Unfortunately, people do things, especially when you're in a certain position, you think it'll never catch up to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that it was one of those things where timing hit, and the things that you did in your past, they caught up to you. I think I was disappointed in him. I was never angry, as you had said, because I think that my thoughts of Bill Cosby were, one, I was separating what his contribution and
when you say angry, what do you mean angry? How
when
so?
you said about him bringing black folks onto the carpet and saying, hey, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you need to pull your pants up and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. He's always come off to me based upon his comedy and his intellectual approach and how him and his wife came together and their 5 children and even what he showed on the Cosby show with the doctor and the lawyer. He's always come off to me as one of those that may not understand the common poor, he comes from a bit of a different cloth of, no, I worked hard and I did this and you can too. And also his old school way of being. So that didn't affect me as much. I was totally taken off guard by the sexual assault part of all of this. And we're very layered people. Mm-hmm. So how do you come into something like this, a person like him, and thinking that things like this will never catch up to you, thinking that you're above, we all, I don't know. Because again, this is, I don't want to, again, because some of this, it's been overturned, it's touchy, and, but again, timing. Things catch up to you is what I'll say.
Awesome. So, I think now it's just the conversation of, what happens next? Do you believe now that he's been or going to be released and, charges are dropped and all these things, do you think this restores his legacy? Do you think like all the things he's built beforehand, because we know like during this time, over and over again, his legacy is kind of being hit on over and over. So do you think now that his legacy will be restored? And I'll start with you, Rodney.
Well, he's still rich. You can fix your legacy if you still got money. And I think that in general, his legacy is definitely tarnished. But I think time heals all wounds, and he gets free. He gets to navigate, maybe perform again. We maybe get to hear his side of the story. That could go a long way in fixing the legacy, maybe.
Right. What do you think?
Say
yeah,
it. Say it then. Say how you
I
feel.
can't. I like what you just said. Somehow I got that feeling of what is your side of the story and fixing the legacy in a sense. I've had to with many people because we are humans and had to separate people's contribution to society, their talents, all those kinds of things. Even some of my spiritual growth I've had to attribute to some very tarnished people, that have done some very upsetting things. Right. But the things that I learned from them, can I keep it? Yes, I can. You know what I mean? The music that you gave me, can I keep it? Sure, I can. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't have to know.
I think I got to use the bathroom. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you saying I'm talking shit?
No, I said I got to pee.
Literally?
No, go ahead. No. Go.
Oh, I thought you meant the things I'm saying are causing you bodily issues.
No, not at all.
So let me put this on.
You was talking about the pee gentleman.
Oh my God. Yes.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Okay, anyway, that totally threw me off because I was talking about a multitude of people, from preachers that I've been around to singers to comedians to whatever, you know what I mean? I've had to, as an individual, separate what your
art from the artist,
the art or the contribution. Even as I said, there's some preachers that have done some very foul things, right. But on the other part of them have also brought people to a better way of life. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And with Bill Cosby, yes, some of the things that I grew up with, yeah, they helped shape me in a lot of ways. Even who I am as a comedian, some of his comedy stylings have shaped me. And so I keep that. I've never met him as a human being. Right. So I can't really judge that. I don't even want to. I want to completely separate that and let the courts do their thing. Right. If, this
so you have to, he get a pass for you then.
There's no passes.
You just said that.
Did I?
So let me ask this.
I'm making it up a little bit.
Let me ask this. So something along the way, there's this conspiracy of this case with Cosby. Do you think it's still valid at this point?
For me, absolutely. And I'll preface this with the fact that I'm a father of 5 girls. I believe that what happens to women gets overlooked time and time again in this country, whether it's from the black side or the white side. It's women feel unprotected. So I'll preface what I'm about to say with this, but I do believe that people say, well, so many people came and said he did X, Y, Z. Right. I believe at some point there are also talking points. When you get 10 women with saying a similar story and it's on the news, and so, matter of fact, I think Bill Cosby put something, what the hell?
I think he put something.
He might have got me. Right. And so those talking points are definitely out there. And am I saying those women were lying? I can't say that, right. But I can also say that his story should get an opportunity to be heard as well.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts? I see your face and that eyebrow raising. Do you think the conspiracy, because there are so many, right? You have them coming out, so many people coming out. You have people that there was just so many conspiracies.
Some people say, I never saw anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think it's still valid?
I think we started this conversation. One of the first things I started is this is something that would be in an episode of a TV series. So is conspiracy in there?
Right.
It would have to be with all the things that have happened in the stretch of his life. You know what I mean? There's been other conspiracies about his life and things like that. So to ignore that, I don't necessarily do that. I do want justice to be served. I really appreciate what Rodney started off with as well, in saying that women and their stories have been overlooked are constantly overlooked, you know, and sometimes in the positions that we are put in, you don't realize the type of assault and things that have happened until you can't sleep, until, you know, these different things start happening where you're like, wow, that was a really, you know what I mean? That was a situation that they had more power over me in, and I really misjudged that, and that really went wrong, and something else could have occurred. So I appreciate everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people saying, like, we don't want to totally ignore this.
Right.
But then there is this other side where you want justice to be served for all.
Right.
You know what I mean? For all. And I think I'd have to end in the middle there with saying you do want justice served for all. Again, if something bad happened in that case and he wasn't processed correctly and it happens in court, you know.
Right.
I mean, but also,
yes, sir.
When you read what the events that they say happened that day, especially on this young lady, Miss Constant, she said he gave her something. He said it was antihistamine, blah blah, and then she felt some type of way, like something had happened. But then she goes back like the next day or soon thereafter. And her family was involved with Mr. Cosby. And so it's like, what is it? Like, and y'all can educate me, if do victims tend to go back to a place
Right,
they
we
were
were
victimized?
talking about that. We were talking about that right as this news was breaking.
That's the flag for me.
I don't have the knowledge. I don't like to. It's such a touchy situation, you know, because some people, like, there was a story where one person said, look, I had a little something and it wasn't feeling right to me and I got up and left. I'm a familiar person with drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you try to drug me, I'm going to probably know about it. You know what I mean? Like, hey. But the point is that everyone's level of everyone isn't exposed to things in such a way. So though I might see this as a
like, what you doing?
Someone may do it.
a red flag immediately.
Exactly.
Someone else may not. Does that make them wrong? Maybe a little naive. Does that make it okay to molest the naive? No, it does not. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely tough, and I think something you brought up, I would like to see, you know, Cosby's point of view, because like I said, in these conspiracy theories, you know, when he was trying to buy NBC, that was another thing. So I would just like to hear, you know, his side of the story. That way we can just see things from slightly a different perspective. But, you know, as things continue to pan out, we'll see what happens. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about the breaking news surrounding Bill Cosby? For
Tell it, put for everybody.
News, I'm Symphony Thompson.